Mr. Cain is planning to have his own news conference to deal with this issue as we understand it. And I want to bring in my panel right now because Yaverbaum, who's the associate publisher of Social Media Mags, is joining us here in the studio. Terrific. And we also have Kereakos Zuras, who's a former advisor to George W. Bush, and he's a business entrepreneur. And we are glad to see you once again here, joining us from Washington.
Thank you. Good morning, Emma.
Let me start with you. What's your reaction right now to the way these events are unfolding between yesterday and today? Herman Cain actually, when also was on Jimmy Kimmel Live, even though it was a comedy venue, he did offer some comments to indirectly deal with it, saying that he was going to have a news conference, but he did say that he rejects any assertion that he has acted inappropriately and says this is all not true. What do you say?
Well, I think it's good that he's stepping up to the plate and giving a clear answer now. In the beginning, I don't think he handled it very well. He was a little unclear on what his stance was on these things. But I'm a little suspicious as to why it took 14 years for these people to come out and make these allegations against him. And the most recent one, now we have a face and a name, and who's being represented by a high-profile attorney. And the facts are this. Look, she wasn't employed by the National Restaurant Association at the time, and it's, her word against his. And that puts Mr. Cain or anyone who would be in his position in a very disadvantage because he's gonna look suspect no matter what happens, and it can only hurt him, and that's going to be the end result of this. Until somebody comes out with some hardline facts and proof to this thing, I don't know. And most people are dismissing it. It's not hurting him in the polls right now.
Well, let's have the poll for just a moment because our latest poll out there, as I understand it, was taken just a few days ago, but before yesterday's news conference by this woman. But if we can show up the numbers right there, Herman Cain and Mitt Romney both at 21%. And this was after the first allegations surfaced by anonymous sources, and nobody was coming forward with a name or a face. But as we can see right there by those numbers, it was not hurting
Cain. But you know what?
Yeah.
Now we got a name, now we got a face, now we got specific allegations. I've been saying for, I don't know, months on this show that I didn't think Herman Cain was real. I thought he would eventually disappear, that he wasn't, that Romney was going to be the guy. I still say the same thing. But what happens in our legal system, you're innocent until you're proven guilty. When you're running for office and when you're being judged by the media and everybody's watching, you're guilty until proven innocent. So whether people care about it or not, Europe. During the Clinton years, Europe would look at what was going on with Bill Clinton and say, "Why are they so worried about that? Why don't they worry about what's going on in the country?" Right. A lot of people could say the same exact thing now, or a lot of people could say, "Well, this is a statement about his moral character." Anyway, you shake it right now, he has a little bit of taint on him, whether he did it or whether he didn't do it.
That's the point. And that's what we have to see how it's going to affect the candidacy going forward. Do you think, Kereakos, that this is going to be something that he's going to have to continue to answer throughout the days, even right before the vote, if he continues to say nothing happened and more women come forward, or that, we continue to hear drip, drip, drip information from other so-called witnesses or anonymous sources?
Well, he took a pretty hardline stance after the debate where he refused to answer questions for some of the reporters. He's coming out on his conference today to address this. And I think if he's smart, what he'll do is he'll come out today, he'll answer every question, every which way, it could be answered, and be very clear on it. And then moving forward, unless a new allegation comes up, he just needs to say, look, I answered the questions the other day at my press conference. Why don't we focus on the issues at hand? And that's what he needs to do, and he just stay firm on that. Now, if something really substantial comes out where he's, proven to have done something, well, that's not going to be good. But it's doubtful at this point with 4 people coming forward, and it's just,
as far as this woman's concerned, your point is well taken. Why did she wait 14 years? Apparently she did, and she says herself, she did go to an event where he was going to be and participating. She knew that, and she's a registered Republican, she says, and she wanted to know if he was going to remember her. And she purposely went up to him to say hello. Some witnesses supposedly are saying, not confirmed yet, that she may have actually hugged him. I mean, I don't.
I heard the same thing.
There's going to be a lot of supposedly flying around here. And you know something? I knew Herman Cain when he was at Godfather's Pizza. And when that guy walked in, he's a gregarious guy.
Yeah.
He talks to everybody. He flirts with everybody. That's what people with personalities do. So yeah, there's going to be more allegations.
No, what I'm saying is, you have to, wonder why, if she was so upset and concerned about what happened at the time, which was why she didn't do something about it back then. Why would she want to be back in the same place?
Yes, you do. I got to wonder why too, but I also got to wonder, is it true? That's the problem.
That's the point.
And the thing is what he will do today, PR 101 for politicians. He'll come out and he'll say, he'll make his few declarative statements about this, in my mind, no doubt denying it. And he will say, I'm not answering any more questions about this. That's the end of this story. I'm running for President of the United States. I got much more important issues to do. Until the next person says something, or this woman offers, there's a dress that shows up, or who knows what, an email.
That's PR 101, but at the same time, as we know in this 24/7 news cycle that we are in, he may be saying that, but the headlines will continue to be like, what the New York Post today says, gal tells my Cain grope ordeal, and there will be more headlines at that. So how does he get past this particular issue and focus on the issues where it doesn't become, where it's not the continual distraction?
Well, unfortunately, he's not going to be able to get away from all of that. But what he needs to do is just really stay focused on his message and just keep refusing to answer questions once he's answered them, and keep sending out his message and get back on what he's going to do to fix this economy and why he should be elected as president. But the media is going to keep doing that, and people will get it after a while. It becomes kind of like headline, and then it kind of like becomes ineffective after a while. But it'll always be there. But as we narrow down to the election day, and who we're going to pick as our candidate, people are going to be focusing on what's really hurting them, which is their pocketbook, the economy, they're being out of work, and how they're going to feed their families, and that's going to be really what people are going to zero in on as we get closer to that day. But he just needs to keep his message clear, and needs to be out there and just stop.
But with 20% or so at this point on our polls showing that there are folks who are undecided, there are people out there who are also saying that they're independent. Will this not have an impact in some way if they're trying to make up their mind about a candidate in the primaries?
I would say it will have an impact as far as Herman Cain is concerned. I don't think in the macro, longer term view of what's going on just with the Republicans and who their nominee is. I don't think it's going to be. I didn't think he was going to be the candidate anyway, so I don't think this is going to hurt him enough to knock him out. I think that he's going to hurt himself enough to knock him out. I don't think that he can beat Obama, so I don't think that the GOP's going to want to put him up. I don't think he's going to get elected. I think that the best choice the Republicans have is Romney, and that's the way it's going to play itself out. In spite of all of these, New York Post headlines, I mean, it seems to me like we've become like the world of the National Enquirer. We're so interested in gossip. We got heavy problems here. I hope he didn't do that. He seems like a very nice man. I hope his moral integrity was better than to do what's alleged. But the issues are way bigger than stuff like that, and that's what we get stuck talking about.
Let me get some final thoughts from you, Kereakos, about how you envision this playing out over the next 24 hours or so with the news cycle.
I'm hoping that Mr. Cain comes out strong today in his news conference and sets the story straight, and then starts laying it heavy with his PR campaign and sending his message out about what he's going to do about the clear issues like we just discussed. We've got bigger issues than what he did or may not have done. Unfortunately, it's going to hurt him either way. I hope, too, that none of this is true, and I believe it's not. And he just needs to stay strong on his message. And as for Mitt Romney, he needs to be a little bit more passionate about his message if he plans on being nominated for the candidate here, because he just doesn't have that passion behind him. And I think that's why people are just kind of like in this, like it's a toss-up right now, and they don't really know which way to go. So both these guys need to get back on point. That's what they need to do.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. Great to see you as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Good to have you on board today.